the 2025 Ryder Cup has concluded, and there's some things we need to talk about. Yeah, for starters, the way the crowd acted towards, mainly towards Rory, was atrocious. And I'm going to say it now because a lot of you are going to be in the comments blowing me up. This is not a Rory hate video. I feel the way he was treated was absolutely horrible, and he should be able to bring his wife anywhere she wants, and nothing like that happened to them. But yeah, I'm excited to see regular formatted golf go back together, and people and watching everyone. Like I love watching John Rahm play. Dude is awesome, and he proved that, at the Ryder Cup. It was pretty good. Like he made some pretty good shots. Same with Rory, especially after when he did the first slip up he had. He's 100 some yards out, pops it up, drops it 2 feet from the hole. That's a big FU to the crowd moment. That was pretty awesome. And yeah, it is a little embarrassing. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not from New York. I'm not a New Yorker, but there's been instances quite a bit where other professional athletes will talk about how they won't take their family or whoever to New York when they play in an event there in any sport. So both former baseball player Chipper Jones and Matt Fitzpatrick from golfing, they have both cited that hostile fans in New York are the reason they don't bring their families to attend games or matches and everything like that. And that really came to prove to show during the Ryder Cup, especially for Rory. But let's talk about Rory. I get it, they treated him horrible, and his wife. But then when you go on a press conference and say something like this,
I don't think we should ever accept that in golf. I think golf should be held to a higher standard than what was seen out there this week. Golf has the ability to unite people. Golf teaches you very good life lessons. It teaches you etiquette. It teaches you how to play by the rules. It teaches you how to respect people. And sometimes this week we didn't see that. So, no, this should not be what is acceptable in the Ryder Cup.
Telling people that we need to be held to a higher standard in golf and stuff like that, but then you go and do things like this.
Shut the fuck up.
And like I said, I get it. They were pressing him pretty hard. But don't sit there and tell us that we need to be held to a higher standard when he was the professional in the whole situation. And then he acts like that. So, do what you will, think what you want for that. But, I'm going to say, if you're going to sit there and tell us things like that, then you can't act like that either. And I know he won, and the time when he went up and covered Bryson's name with the European flag, you can't stand on a soapbox, buddy. But he did, for the most part, he did just see through it and played some good golf. But then there was other instances like when Shane Lowry was going to coming in the crowd to fight someone for yelling at Rory, but and by all means, I feel like the golfers should have every right to walk into the crowd and hit somebody especially when they're being that bad. And they even tried to alleviate the kind of crowd that shows up there. Like before, tickets were only $200 to $250. But then all these people were doing the resales up of higher prices of the tickets. So they ended up just saying we'll just put the price point here at $700 to start with, and if people want to pay more, they'll just pay more. Well, it still worked. They made money over hand and foot, but it didn't really stop the rough type of crowd that comes in and like ruins events like this. So, but I don't know. A lot of things came out of this just because I think it's just being highlighted a lot this year because President Trump was at the thing. So, and right now, it's the cool thing to do is to hate the USA, which I think is dumb. But I don't think they should ever go back to New York to even play, like to have the Ryder Cup there. I think they should probably pick like a more iconic or a more prestiged course. Like if you go to Europe, when they do the Ryder Cup in Europe, they do like nice courses. Like when the next one, that course is nice. It's gonna be good, and I guarantee the European crowd will be a lot better and more well behaved than the Ryder Cup here this year. But when they did have the Open in Ireland earlier this year, the crowd was pretty ruthless to Scotty, which, like, again, not as bad as they were here to Rory, but
damn you people! Go back to your shanties.
they were still chirping into it. So I don't think it's just centered here. But the waste management is 10 times worse for the image of golf than this year's Ryder Cup was. I know it's European versus USA, and but the waste management's way worse. They're saying they had 111 people taken out of the event last year at the waste management. That's funny. So I would blame the venues for a lot of this stuff. Well, just like the mixed drinks they were making with rubber ducks in it. Why would you do that at a golf event? That's just, and them serving alcohol at starting at 9 a.m. in the morning. And on the first day, I seen a video of people counting down to 9 o'clock so they can get beer. I was like that should have been a sign. They're like, hey, we need to cool our jets on this. But congratulate the Team Europe. They pretty much ran away with it the first 2 days. They almost let it slip on day 3. We don't know how it would have ended. And European probably would have still won. But even with the envelope rule, I think they should have just gave the whole point to English, and I don't think Europe should have got a half point at all. There's no other sport ever to do, and I know this rule has only been acted 4 times or something like that in history, but like it just doesn't make sense. If you can't compete, you shouldn't get rewarded for it at all. Because if that was the case, everyone could have just said they couldn't play, and then that's how that would have went. The rule needs to change. I know Keegan Bradley was upset about it, but he did agree to the terms like a year ago, so that's kind of on him. They should have had at least an alternate come into play, because if you're invited to the Ryder Cup, like, you want to play. You don't want to just sit out because someone else on the opposing team couldn't do it. But that's here or there. Rule needs to change after here, and it's not because it wouldn't have changed. Like, if John Lowry didn't win or didn't tie that match, they would have still played the last 2 matches, and regardless, it could have still been lost by a point or even just tied it and only just retained. But that's just how it is. Another big thing people are complaining about is how most of the European golfers actually live in the U.S. Like, they have residency in the U.S. Like Rory McIlroy lives in Florida, but I think he just sold that and he's moving back to Ireland. But Luke Donald, Florida. Justin Rose, Florida and Bahamas. Shane Lowry, Florida. Matt Fitzpatrick, Florida. Tyrrell Hatton, Florida and England. He has residence. Skipka is Alabama. John Rahm lives in Arizona, and his wife is from there. Victor Hovland in Oklahoma, and Ulrich is in Florida too. I'll say, no, their original. That's where they're from is. I think that's why they play off the European team. Them having a residence here in the United States would just make sense. Most of their career is played here, so I think like, if I was in their shoes, I would have a residence here too. That'd be ridiculous to make like a 18 to 24 hour flight every week just to compete in golf. So I don't think that's really that big of a deal. All in all, the USA lost. They're kind of on a slow dump. It's like been like a three-year run where Europe has retained it. But there was a point in time where the U.S. did like 13 in a row, so I don't think that's such a big deal. I hope this was a learning lesson for the PGA having the Ryder Cup here in the U.S. in certain spots. I would say like just don't have it in Florida. Definitely have better logistics. Don't be serving people at 9 in the morning. People can't be trusted with freedoms, I swear. That's the crazy part about it. But looking forward to 2027. And what do you guys think? Comment below. Thanks for watching.